The catfish stuck its barbed head above the surface, tugged with force, splashed, stirred the water, and flashed its white belly. "Careful, Dandelion," shouted the Witcher, digging his heels into the wet sand. "Hold him, damn it." "I am holding him," groaned the poet. "Heavens, what a monster! It's a leviathan, not a fish. There'll be some good eating on that, dear gods. Loosen it or the line will snap." The catfish clung to the bed and threw itself against the current towards the bend in the river. The line hissed as Dandelion's and Geralt's gloves smoldered. "Pull, Geralt, pull! Don't loosen it or it'll get tangled up in the roots. The line will snap." "No, it won't. Pull." They hunched up and pulled. The line cut the water with a hiss, vibrated, and scattered droplets which glistened like mercury in the rising sun. The catfish suddenly surfaced, set the water seething just below the surface, and the tension of the line eased. They quickly started to gather up the slack. "We'll smoke it," panted Dandelion. "We'll take it to the village and get it smoked. And we'll use the head for soup." "Careful!" Feeling the shallows under its belly, the catfish threw half of its 12-foot-long body out of the water, tossed its head, whacked its flat tail, and took a sharp dive into the depths. Their gloves smoldered anew. "Pull! Pull! To the bank, the son of a bitch!" "The line is creaking. Loosen it, Dandelion." "It'll hold. Don't worry. We'll cook the head for soup." The catfish dragged near to the bank again, surged and strained furiously against them, as if to let them know he wasn't that easy to get into the pot. The spray flew 6 feet into the air. "We'll sell the skin." Dandelion, red with effort, pulled the line with both hands. "And the baubles. We'll use the baubles to make..." Nobody ever found out what the poet was going to make from the catfish's baubles. The line snapped with a crack, and both fishermen, losing their balance, fell onto the wet sand. "Bloody hell!" Dandelion yelled so loud that the echo resounded through the Osiers. "So much grub escaped. I hope you die, you son of a catfish." "I told you." Geralt shook his wet trousers. "I told you not to use force when you pull. You screwed up, my friend. You make as good as fishermen as a goat's ass makes a trumpet." "That's not true." Troubadour was outraged. "It's my doing that the monster took the bait in the first place." "Oh really? You didn't lift a finger to help me set the line. You played the lute and hollered so the whole neighborhood could hear you. Nothing more." "You're wrong." Dandelion barred his teeth. "When you fell asleep, you see, I took the grubs off the hook and attached a dead crow, which I found in the bushes. I wanted to see your face in the morning when you pulled the crow out, and the catfish took the crow. Your grubs would have caught shithole." They would have. The Witcher spat into the water, winding the line onto the little wooden rake. "But it snapped because you tugged like an idiot. Wind up the rest of the line instead of gabbling. The sun's already up. It's time to go. I'm going to pack up." "Geralt." "What?" "There's something on the other line too." "No. Damn it. It only got caught. Hell, it's looking like a stone. I can't do it. Ah, that's it." "Haha. Look what I'm bringing in. It must be the wreck of a barge from the King Desmond's time. What great stuff. Look, Geralt." Dandelion was clearly exaggerating. The clump of rotted ropes, net, and algae pulled out of the water was impressive, but it was far from being the size of a barge dating from the days of the legendary king. The bard scattered the jumble over the bank and began to dig around in it with the tip of his shoe. The algae was alive with leeches, scourds, and little crabs. "Ha! Look what I've found." Geralt approached, curious. The find was a chipped stoneware jar, something with a two-handled amphora tangled up in netting, black with rotten algae, colonies of caddis larvae, and snails dripping in stinking slime. Ha! Dandelion exclaimed again, proudly. Do you know what this is? It's an old pot. You're wrong, declared the troubadour, scraping away shells and hard and shiny clay. This is a charmed jar. There's a djinn inside who'll fulfill my 3 wishes. The Witcher snorted. You can laugh. Dandelion finished his scraping, bent over and rinsed the amphora. But there's a seal on the spigot and a wizard's mark on the seal. What mark? Let me see. Oh, sure. The poet hit the jar behind his back. And what more do you want? I'm the one who found it, and I need all the wishes. Don't touch that seal. Leave it alone. Let go, I tell you. It's mine. Dandelion, be careful. Sure. Don't touch it. Oh, bloody hell. The jar fell into the sand during the scuffle, and luminous red smoke burst forth. The Witcher jumped back and rushed towards the camp for his sword. Dandelion, folding his arms across his chest, didn't move. The smoke pulsated and collected in an irregular sphere level with Dandelion's eyes. The spheres formed a 6-foot-wide distorted head with no nose, enormous eyes, and a sort of beak. Djinn, said Dandelion, stomping his foot, I freed thee, and as of this day I am thy lord. My wishes. The head snapped its beak, which wasn't really a beak, but something in the shape of a drooping, deformed, and ever-changing lips. Run, yelled the Witcher. Run, Dandelion. My wishes, continued the poet, are as follows. Firstly, may Valdo Marx, the troubadour of Sidaris, die of epilepsy as soon as possible. Secondly, there's Count's daughter in Caliph called Virginia who refuses all advances. May she succumb to mine. Thirdly, no one ever found out Dandelion's third wish. 2 monstrous paws emerged from the horrible head and grabbed the bard by the throat. Dandelion screeched. Geralt reached the head in 3 leaps, swiped his silver sword, and slashed it through the middle. The air howled. The head exhaled smoke and rapidly doubled in diameter. The monstrous jaw, now also much larger, flew open, snapped, and whistled. The paws pulled the struggling Dandelion around and crushed him to the ground. The Witcher crossed his fingers in the sign of art and threw as much energy as he could at the head. The energy materialized in a blinding beam, sliced through the glow surrounding the head, and hit its mark. The boom was so loud that it stabbed Geralt's ears, and the air sucked in by the implosion made the willows rustle. The roar of the monster was deafening as it grew even larger, but released the poet, soared up, circled, and waving its paws, flew away over the water. The Witcher rushed to pull Dandelion, who was lying motionless, away. At the moment, his fingers touched a round object buried in the sand. It was a brass seal, decorated with the sign of a broken cross and the 9-pointed star. The head, suspended above the river, had become the size of a haystack, while the open, roaring jaws looked like the gates of an average-sized barn. Stretching out its paws, the monster attacked. Geralt, not having the least idea of what to do, squeezed the seal in his fist and, extending his hands towards the assailant, screamed out the words of an exorcism a priestesses had once taught him. He had never used those words until now because, in principle, he didn't believe in superstitions. The effect surpassed his expectations. The seal hissed and grew hot, burning his hand. The gigantic head froze in the air, suspended motionless above the river. It hung like that for a moment, then at last it began to howl, roar, and dispersed into a pulsating bundle of smoke. into a huge whirling crowd. The cloud whined shrilly and whisked upstream with incredible speed, leaving a trail of churned up water on the surface. In a matter of seconds, it had disappeared into the distance. Only a dwindling howl lingered across the water. The Witcher rushed to the poet, cowering on the sand. "Dandelion, are you dead? Dandelion, damn it, what's the matter with you?" The poet jerked his head, shook his hands, and opened his mouth to scream. Geralt grimaced and narrowed his eyes. Dandelion had a trained, loud tenor voice, and when frightened, could reach extraordinary registers, but what emerged from the bard's throat was barely audible hoarse crow. "Dandelion, what's the matter with you? Answer me." "Are you in pain? What's the matter, Dandelion?" "Don't say anything. If everything's all right, nod." Dandelion grimaced and with great difficulty nodded, and then immediately turned to his side, curled up, and choking and coughing, vomited blood. Geralt cursed.